Welcome to Mastering Life's Adventures, an educational podcast about tapping into your true self, the soul, the substance of your life, to discover what life's ups and downs are really about, and how to have a greater sense of purpose, peace, joy, and fulfillment. I am Dr. Judith Holder, your host, coach, psychologist, fellow seeker who enjoys diving into the connections between spirituality, psychology, wellness, and your everyday life's adventures. All preparing and polishing you like the facets of a magnificent diamond to be your best self. If you're craving more from your life, you are in the right place. Come, let's journey together and transforming what you know into who you really are. Mastering Life's Adventures begins now.
Imagine this. What if the very thing that keeps us steady in life isn't just telling the truth, but enabling it to flow through every part of who you are? And what if the moment we step away from truth, even just slightly, we begin sliding down a hill that takes us further from our highest calling? And in this imagination that you're looking at these questions in, what if you're hiking a mountain? The path is clear, the air is crisp, and your compass points straight to the summit. Then you take one small step off the trail, just for a shortcut. And at first, it feels harmless, but slowly the ground slopes downward. Trees close in, and before you know it, you're miles away from your goal, wondering, how did you get so lost? That's what happens when we disable truth. Hi, I'm back with another episode on Keys to Soul Progress, and this focus that we're doing today is on enabling truth. Enabling truth is more than honesty. It is the conscious choice to live in alignment with your higher purpose, your higher self, your I am presence, your Lord and Savior, Jesus. This episode is also dedicated to honor Charlie Kirk, a Christian pioneer who did not just talk the talk, but he did the walk. He walked the walk. I'm dedicating this month to Charlie Kirk, and in the month of October, he was born on the 14th. The next several episodes for this month are really focused on aspects of truth. Charlie often said, courage is telling the truth in a world that despises it. His words remind us that truth is not negotiable. It is the bedrock of freedom, and it is the bedrock of your soul, the substance of your life, and how you want to lead your life. Let's talk together about what it means not just to tell the truth, but to enable it. Enabling truth means more than avoiding lies. It means cultivating an inner environment where truth can live, breathe, and grow. Think of a garden. You don't just plant seeds. You water, you weed, you make room for sunlight. Truth is the same. It needs care, protection, and attention, just like your soul, the substance of your life. But what chokes it? What chokes this garden is the weeds of self-deception, the dry soil of apathy, the shadows of excuses. When truth is enabled, the soul flourishes. When it's disabled, through compromise, rationalization, or silence, or slowly going off the path, the soul withers, sometimes without us even noticing. It is so subtle. So let's pause here for a minute. Can you recall a moment when you told yourself, I have truth? Just to stay comfortable. Maybe you didn't call it a lie, but deep down, you knew you were avoiding what was real. That's disabling truth. Charlie Kirk often quoted John 8, verse 32, which my mom would quote all the time. And it was, as ye shall know the truth shall make you free. And my mom would say, from what? From ignorance, ignoring the law. There are universal laws, which you've heard me talk about in this podcast, universal laws that exist, and we will outside that law. And truth, disabling truth, is a thing that takes us outside that law because of our ignorance. Then we're on a different path. We're not on the soul's path back to the highest good. Notice the word, though. I said, make you free. Truth doesn't just set you free. Like a gate opening, it makes you free. It reshapes you. It's a process of inner transformation. It's like oxygen. If you breathe deeply, your body thrives. But when the breath is cut off, even just a little, it weakens your body. Weakness sets in fast. Truth is oxygen for the soul. And if we breathe it deeply, we grow stronger. If we cut it off, the soul suffocates. And we don't think about that. We don't think about how what we say impacts our soul. And I'm inviting you to think more deeply about this as I'm going through this series of truth and what it is and what it is not. And we'll be doing some meditations around it as well. Because here is the sobering reality. Disabling truth doesn't just stop growth. It reverses it. It ties knots in the soul. It dims your inner flame, your inner light. The substance of your life, your soul, gets dimmer because we are going further away from the truth and not standing on the ground of truth. Many spiritual teachings remind us that truth is the ladder of the soul progress. Miss a rung and you stumble. Try to skip the ladder altogether, you never climb at all. So how do we slide away from truth? Usually, it's very slow and very subtle. It's like the student who cheats once in an exam, whispering, everyone else does it. Or the manager who pads numbers slightly, thinking, just for this quarter. Or the spouse who avoids a hard conversation, believing it'll just upset them. Each one feels small, but each step tilts the soul downward. The momentum builds downward. And we want our momentum to build upward, up the mountain, not down. So a soul trying to straddle truth and falsehood doesn't walk straight. It wobbles. And eventually it falls. Let me give you a story. A young man worked in the bookstore. Let's call him Bob. At first, Bob only took small things. He worked there, so he probably felt it was deserving of him to take some of these small things. For example, an extra coffee from the break room, a book borrowed without permission. Each time, he told himself, it's no big thing. Months later, he was caught stealing cash. What began as a pebble rolled into a landslide. That's how the slide happens. Not by leaping off a cliff, but by walking small steps downhill until you can't stop. And you now have a list of justifications of why we did what we did. Sometimes we don't even have it consciously. We're just doing it because we're used to these slow sliding slips down the mountain. I want to use an acronym to describe what I'm talking about. And the acronym is Kirk, K-I-R-K, in honor of Charlie Kirk. And Kirk is standing keep integrity, resist corruption with a K. So when I talk about keeping integrity, think about it this way. Integrity isn't perfection. It's wholeness, is what we're keeping. When your thoughts, words, and actions align, the soul shines with strength. When integrity breaks, the soul fractures. Fractured souls scatter energy. And when we have scattered energy, they cannot ascend. These fractures that are created with our soul cannot ascend. It cannot move forward. It cannot rise upward because we need to understand the key essence of integrity. And that's why I'm talking about truth. Now, the other piece of this, K-I, is the R-K, which is resist corruption. Corruption often looks harmless. It shows up as shortcuts, justifications, bending rules, just a little bit. But each compromise feeds weakness. Resisting corruption is resisting spiritual decay. Living Kirk, or living the Kirk approach, means asking, am I enabling truth right now? Or am I enabling falsehood? Some stories might be helpful to pull this together and keep integrity, resist corruption. It's happening so much in our world today that it is that slow slide down the mountain. And we're not even realizing when it's happening to us and to the best of us. The first example I want to give is related to an accountant. And this is a young accountant. So let's talk about Kim, who's a young accountant who discovered fraud in her company. And by speaking up, it did cost her job. And for a season, she lost the security of having work and pay. But she did find other work. And years later, the act became her testimony. People trusted her. Her integrity opened doors she never could have forced open. She enabled truth, and her soul grew. The next example is related to friends that tend to be more silent. And Jim watched a friend spiral into destructive choices in terms of what he was drinking, womanizing, and getting more angry and frustrated in his life at work. His friend just said, it's not my place to say anything. And years later, tragedy struck. His silence became a wound he carried. By disabling truth in its own self, we have to be willing to speak the truth. We can be kind, we can be considerate, but we do need to say things that we know are for the betterment of the person or the situation that you find yourself in. And here's another example. And this is related more on a ministerial side. Pastor Bob once misquoted a Bible verse. The next week, he stood before his congregation and corrected himself. Some might think this seemed weak or petty, or people get over it. But his people leaned in with great trust, because correction is not weakness, it's courage. In enabling truth, he strengthened both his soul and theirs. And I want to share with you why these examples that I'm giving are so critical to soul progress. Because the soul was created for resonant with divine truth, with the Christic energies, with the I am presence, with understanding the Holy Spirit. It has a worthy vessel to flow through, because you are a vessel of truth. When truth flows, the soul is radiant. When truth is blocked, the soul is heavy. It's what I've talked about on my past podcast about density. The density that is created for the soul can become like a prison for the soul. And when truth is spoken, the soul expands. And when truth is silenced, the soul contracts. So disabling truth can lead down certain pathways. It can create a heavy burden that weighs on the heart. People will say, my heart feels heavy. Or a dimming of your inner flame, your inner light, the dimming of your soul. And also can fracture trust in relationships. Can I really trust this person now that they've lied to me or told me a white lie or wasn't telling me the truth? And we don't realize, but it's so true, that it can be stalled. Spiritual growth can create a barrier because you're not on the foundation of truth. We don't realize we move into the quicksand of it doesn't matter, or I'll do it better next time, or oh well, I really wanted that, so I got it. But how did you go about getting it? Because if we're using deception, manipulation of some type, or bullying to get what we want, those not are the qualities of the Christ. And the Christ is the flame of truth. Enabling truth, lightness, freedom, building of character, and the radiance that others notice. Deeper trust and authenticity, and people know you're anchored in something greater than yourself. And it also results in the ascension of the soul, taking step by step on its spiritual path into the highest potential of who you can be in this life. As Proverbs chapter 23, verse 23 declares, buy the truth and sell it not. What truth is always worth it. Because selling truth, even cheaply, is selling your soul's upward progress. It's taking you off the path. No shortcuts. Always ask your inner self, your guides, your soul, what do I need to do here? Ask your higher presence, your Christ self. What do I need to do here? For I wish to walk in the path of truth. With kindness, but with firmness of the things that need to be said or done. And I'm not going to say that it's always easy to embody truth, because it may not always be. But that's the test. During those hard times, not during the good times, but during the hard times, can I be able to speak the truth? And so, as I had mentioned, enabling truth is not always easy, but is always necessary. When you keep integrity and resist corruption, you don't just protect your soul, you grow it. And that's what we're on planet Earth to do, to grow our soul and fine-tune who we are to be our best self and a worthy outpost for the divinity, the God that exists within you. Because when we can speak the truth, we are helping to expand character, expand lightness of our soul, expand our sense of what is real and what is not, because we're asking for discernment. And in that process of discernment, we are getting at the truth of the matter, complex matters or simple matters. All is important, all being laid on the foundation of understanding truth. And so it does require sometimes meditation. It does require for us to study. It does require for us to study the scriptures or spiritual teachings that allows us to have a greater, finer tunement to truth, refinement to your soul when it's trying to prompt you, guide you in the truth, and start to discern between what is the right way to move and what is the lesser way to move in life. So here's my question for you. Where in your life are you called not just to speak truth, but to enable truth, to let it flourish, strengthen your soul, and guide others? Remember, we are on the path of going up the mountain, not down it. We are on the path of being able to discern what is the highest way that I can be in this particular interaction that I'm having with a family member at work or in your conversations with yourself, to have greater awareness of the truth here. And the truth will set you free. It will allow you to be freer and be able to grow in so many different ways that you haven't even thought about right now. So be your best self in speaking the truth and enabling it to flourish in your life. Something to think about. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining me for this episode on Mastering Life's Adventures, being your best self through soul evolution. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, I would be delighted if you would share this episode with others, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe to my Mastering Life's Adventures podcast. Look forward to your joining the next episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you might have below. Bye for now.